Well, early morning. Got off work. A lot better day last night. And I got 3 days off, so I'm going to try to get a lot done. But here's what I've been flying. Here's the Tiger motor version of the HBx. Basically 300. You can bring it down to 250 if you need to. But these are 300s. So 6-inch props. I'm using the 200 milliwatt 5.8 gigahertz TS5823s on both of them. I've got FR Sky receivers on both. This one has telemetry hooked up to Open TX on the controller, and then I have the Free Sky module in the actual controller for this one and the Open TX on that transmitter. So I run that, but this one doesn't have any RSSI or telemetry, feedback. So these are the two racing quads that I've been flying. Both would have Mobiuses. I'm going to get rid of the 18 amp Turnigies, though they are very reliable, and I'm flipping with them no problem. So I don't know, I think that my flips could get a lot cleaner, but I'm starting to really smooth them out, and these FPV model motors have really impressed me after getting that center shaft tightened down. And I'm going to go get some nylock nuts as well for that tomorrow. Go to the stainless steel shop. And basically this one's been flying really well. It's got OSD in it. This is a Hobby King GPS connector, and I'm not using the GPS because it doesn't accurately do speed for mini quads, and I'm getting a lot of interference for the actual receiver, so I didn't want to have the extra weight. And it has a really good 2 decimal point voltage meter on it. It's about $24 at Hobby King. This is my good DIY cloverleaf on the heavy metallized cable, and that one's working quite well. But I was sitting under a tree the other day, so I was getting quite a lot of reflection, and I am using a linear receiver antenna, not a cloverleaf, so I was getting some static, but I was still flying, and it's not as pleasurable, so I cut it short. But usually that huge field, I can cover that whole area up to about 200 meters or 200 yards, I would say, up in altitude, maybe 300, and no problem with signal in that park. I get clear view of the city and everything like that. It's quite beautiful in the morning. Now in the other park with the forest, I get all the way around that forest, no problem, with the panel antenna and the diversity receiver. But with the Quantum V2, I do have to move my head to get the image better once in a while. But I can still make it through all the trees and get back out into the main field. I just can't go up as high, and I can't definitely go over the large bank of trees at the extent of the field, at the far extent of the field. Whereas with the panel antenna and the diversity at a helical, I can go well over those trees and into the other park next door. So that's a good indication of how good that 18 dBi panel antenna satchel is that I carry. Even with the V2s, you're carrying just as much stuff because of their size. So I'm sort of at a toss-up whether I want to carry them all the time or I want to take the Fat Sharks and the good panel antenna. And I think I'm going to go back to taking the panel antenna. But the Sony case carries the receiver very well, or the TX very well, the 9X. So I might build that into a ground station for 5.8 with diversity and 3 receivers, perhaps, 1 removable to put onto the Quantum if I need to. So that's what I'll do, and I'll feed everything out of that Sony case, and then I'll just have to carry a bag with basically batteries and one of these quads or both of these quads. So there you go. And I wanted to show you how to test a cloverleaf. I was talking, I made a comment that the housing had broken. This was all shrink tubed before, and it had bent over so many times that it had severed, so the grounded part on the outside had broken away. And then I discovered that the center element isn't soldered on these right angle SMA connectors. It's sort of a press fit into the bottom of this, and then tightened with this screw here. So I had to put that back in there, and I wanted to test continuity, so I cut the antenna at the bottom where it grounds out here, and then checked with a continuity tester. Now, I could have just assumed that it was connected here, but it wasn't before, so you know, I had to double check it, even though I could have just confirmed by tightening it that it was grounded. I wanted to be double for sure, and next time I go out I'll be testing this one again, because this is what was giving me a lot of trouble, and maybe crash within 20 meters of the receiver with the V2s into that tree, losing the counterclockwise and clockwise nuts, despite the fact they're not supposed to come off. Somebody told me that. Gem fans are holding up really well. Chip a bit, but they're very, very strong, and they don't flex at all, so, or very little. So there you go, the HBx system. Very minimalist. That's what the whole point is. You can repair these within minutes. You've got 8 clamps on each one, and then 4 spacers, and that puts together your whole quad. There's no real magic to it other than that metal clamps act as an integral part of the monocoque construction of the frame. So the frame doesn't twist or turn or anything like that under load. And with 2mm ends on the carbon fiber tubing, impacts onto the motors and the motor mounts are pretty much absorbed in grass and on concrete and that kind of thing. So I do recommend putting pads on the bottom just for landings. So I have neoprene pads on this one, and I have foam noodle or pool noodle rear feet and a bumper on the front of that one. Both have Fat Shark 7 or 600 TBL cameras. And like I said, that one has the Hobby King OSD with GPS for $26, and this one has the plain OSD that runs about $12 and has a time and the battery voltage. So that's my video for the day, guys. I hope you like the models, and have a good one. Keep crashing. I'm getting that to a minimum, thankfully. They're still pretty ghetto, but they fly reliably every day, so that's what counts.